Hi guys, in this video we are going to study about T distribution and Z distribution. We are first going to see the difference between the two and when to apply what. So first of all, if you remember, we have already studied the Z distribution, right? Z distribution is the distribution where my mean value becomes 0 and my standard deviation is equal to 1. We also saw the formula of the Z score that we calculated, which was equal to my value subtracting the mean value and dividing by the standard deviation. So this is known as Z distribution. Now Z distribution is applied only when my sample size is greater than 30. That means this is the condition to apply the standard deviation or the standard normal distribution where my sample size will be greater than 30. Now talking about T distribution. T distribution is basically applied whenever this n value is less than or equal to 30. That means my sample size is very small. The sample size is less than or equal to 30. In this case, if you remember, I used to calculate the confidence interval, which was made up of point estimate plus minus margin of error. This we have covered in the last video, where if you remember, this point estimate is nothing but my sample mean, and this value used to be calculated as Z score multiplied by standard deviation of the population divided by under root of your sample size. So this is the formula that we were following earlier. Now what happens is, T distribution is basically applied with two conditions. First, your sample size should be less than 30, and second, your population standard deviation is unknown. That means you do not have this particular value with you. In this case, the formula is transformed. The formula changes like this. It becomes sample mean plus minus T. T is basically the test statistic or the Z score for this value. So we are representing it with T, S divided by under root of N. So here, because my population standard deviation is unknown, that is why I am replacing this with sample standard deviation. Right? So instead of population standard deviation, I am taking sample standard deviation, and this becomes my new formula to calculate this confidence interval. So whenever my sample size will be smaller than 30, then this is the formula that I will be applying to calculate the confidence interval. In this, I will be using the T distribution, or it is also known as student's T distribution. Now one thing that we need to understand over here is, let me bring this graph over here. The value of n, that is nothing but my sample size, this is my sample size, right? Sample size, and n minus 1 is called as degree of freedom. This is a term that is given to n minus 1. Now here you can see I have drawn the graphs with different degrees of freedom. So you can see here my orange graph is basically my T test with 10 degrees of freedom. 10 degrees of freedom basically means that n value is equal to 11. Similarly, this blue graph that you see is again a T test done with 2 degrees of freedom. That means my n value is 12. And this is done with again 1 degree of freedom. That means my T value is, this was done with 10 degrees of freedom. So n minus 1 is equal to 10, right? So n value becomes 11. Similarly, with 1 degrees of freedom, it means n value is 2. So as you can see, as my n value will increase, my n minus 1 value will increase. That means as my sample size is going to increase, my degrees of freedom are also going to increase, and in that case, my T test is going to convert into Z test. That means as my sample size increases, as my sample size keeps on increasing, somewhere it will touch the 30 mark and it will be converted into Z test. If you see here, this orange line is nothing but my value, which is very close to this green line, that is my standard normal graph. So if you see here, I have drawn different graphs for different degrees of freedom of T test. Remember, T test is usually applied when your n value is less than 30. So as your n value will keep on increasing, as your degrees of freedom will also keep on increasing, your t test will slowly move its results toward the Z test. And what is Z test? It is nothing but our standard normal test that we have studied in depth. Here we calculate this Z score and get the value. So this is basically the difference between t test and Z test. And remember, for t test only a small change, that your population standard deviation is replaced with sample standard deviation, and this Z value is the same. It's just represented with t when you are using the t test, and it is represented with Z when you are using the normal Z test, right? So this is the difference between Z distribution and T students distribution. Thank you so much and stay tuned for more such videos.